podcast. Discount Shirtless Bearded. Oh, shit. What was the name of the guy he played in Mission Impossible? The guy with all the arrows. Hey, that's the journalist from... Wait, you followed the Bourne blueprint here with this spinoff. You have a badass assassin on the run with a beautiful girl, an insane vehicle chase, a crazy hand-to-hand fight scene, a dickhead CIA boss. You didn't need to set your movie during the end of Ultimatum to create extra ties to the Bourne universe. In case you confused it with Bethesda Cameroon.
He's preparing an expose on Jason Bourne, Treadstone, and Blackbriar.
Jesus, now I know why this spin-off movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, because it spends way too much time on Bourne retreadstoning.
We had Bourne 6 weeks ago in Moscow. He was on foot, wounded, with a full Cossack posse up his ass. Somehow he walked out of there.
Somehow? Wasn't Kramer actually in the original trilogy?
You were given a Ferrari, and your people treated it like a lawnmower. You break it, you bought it.
What the f*** does that even mean?
Was ever thus.
It was ever thus? The f***? I mean, you break it, you bought it was old enough on its own, but it was ever thus precedes video technology, audio recording technology, and probably even the written word. For tonight's performance of The Grey, the part of Liam Neeson will be played by Jeremy Renner. We apologize for any inconvenience. I'm pretty sure this is just footage of Tony Gilroy's punishment of Edward Norton for being Edward Norton. Oh good, we finally get that American History X reunion that no one asked for. I wonder who Edward Furlong is playing in this thing. Man, movie spends a lot of the beginning on this Alaskan expedition. Is he looking for Ghost Kevin Costner up here? Bourne of the Rings.
I want to know about anybody who talked to anybody about anything at any time.
Facebook. Jesus Christ, that needle's huge. He's not drawing blood, he's pulling out f***ing bone marrow. Is there a location on Earth that we haven't visited in the first 8 minutes of this movie?
Jeremy.
Yes? Exposition by multiple news broadcasts, but also exposition that fans of the Bourne films already know. Okay guys, we got the shot, so you don't need to continue the camera rotation. Guys? Guys? I mean, he ends up at a cabin and then they shoot a missile at him and he leaves the snowy tundra for good. Does it really need to be some huge dude bro thrill-seeking K2 adventure before that? Can't he just arrive at the cabin without me having to watch Cliffhanger first? After appearing with him in Mission Impossible, Jeremy Renner caught a nasty case of the Tom Cruise flu. Frodo learned bass by watching Gandalf play violin.
Where'd you find this?
YouTube.
Now, did any Coke or Adidas ads run in front of that video? Because if so, we need to let those brands know that their ads are appearing on videos with damning spy community evidence. Or, even better, the CIA should just issue a copyright claim against the video, and then YouTube would take it down immediately and force the uploader to prove it was fair use, which could take weeks or months, during which time the uploader receives no revenue and in some cases no one sees the video.
If this Bourne mess exposes Treadstone, they will turn Hirsch inside out. They'll be talking to Hillcott before we even know what happened.
Wait, who with a what now?
Hirsch and Hillcott? How many people even understand this work, let alone have the will to pursue it?
IMDb tells me that the director here was Tony Gilroy, who wrote a couple of the earlier Bourne movies. Honestly, this movie is totally enjoyable and fine, and the only reason it got a negative reputation is that it didn't have Matt Damon. Jason Bourne, the movie, has Matt Damon, but is definitely worse than this film, so you figure it out.
I wasn't expecting you so soon.
Why the hell is number 3, who's also a super soldier, out of breath from just jumping down from a f***ing tree? There's make sure you have enough guns, and then there's make sure everyone knows you have enough guns.
I know you have some extra chems here.
Did you chem today?
Green only.
Way too much of this chem talk. This movie's policy is to never remain in a single location for more than 7 minutes.
Hey, he's here. Bourne is here in New York.
This guy got more screen time in this spin-off than he did in Ultimatum. And no, that's not true, but the fact that you momentarily wondered if it were true makes my point.
Jason Bourne is in Manhattan. Confirmed.
Well, we think he's in New York, but we couldn't pay him enough to actually be in the movie.
How do you know that I'm not evaluating you? Do you ever not care? Maybe you're evaluating me.
Jeez, does Oscar Isaac think he has to do a Turing test in every movie? Seriously, does Jason Bourne seem like the type of guy that would carve his name into a shared safe house? I know this was probably done before he was in deep cover, but come the on. In case you confused it with Seoul, Texas. You know what? There are so many of these goddamn location titles that I'm already tired of using that sin. So I'll just add 5 here and save everyone the time. This is a reality show character introduction walk-up, somehow stuck in a major Hollywood motion picture. Oh, I see. They kill all the operatives with that poison that makes you briefly bleed out of your nose. Okay, fine, but what about all these f***ing dead bodies? They don't think several well-toned, otherwise healthy young adults with a f***ing pillbox hanging from their neck, mind you, will arouse any suspicion from local authorities. Good thing Cross volunteered to take the nest as they split up to investigate a weird noise. Otherwise, short movie. Or Oscar Isaac finds fame 5 years earlier and the movie pivots to follow his character.
They were lined up all the way to the structure.
And then one decided to walk somewhere because they did not know you were lining up missiles. These guys act like this is the first time everyone they wanted a drone missile didn't stand completely still during the entire attack. That's awesome. This movie is a lot better than you probably remember. Wait, all the pills were vaporized, but the bottles were left largely intact?
They parsed the signal. It's Aaron Cross.
I bet there are 5 different takes of this lady accidentally saying it's Jason Bourne on the cutting room floor. No one will be seated during the twilight portion of the movie. Isn't this plan needlessly complicated? He had to build the trap, wait for the wolves to arrive, hope that one of them fell perfectly for the ruse, then wrestle the goddamn thing and force feed it? Like, just leave it in the supply shed. Or if it has to be in a living being for some reason, just leave some food out for the wolf and let him eat it that way.
Do you know what a sin eater is?
Sounds like a Harry Potter villain.
We are morally indefensible and absolutely necessary.
Movie steals the daily mirror mantra of CinemaSins and puts it in character's mouth.
She was cooked the minute she hitched her wagon to Jason Bourne.
You mean at the very end of Ultimatum, which this movie told me is still going on right now while Aaron Cross is up in the mountains? That Bourne? The timelines definitely don't jive here.
For Christ's sake, she brought the son of a bitch back to America.
Fake news at its best. He came to America on his own and after his own agenda. Landy did nothing to cause that. This is Foyt's I'm about to brutally murder all my coworkers face. Wait, so he ran out of bullets and she chooses that moment to what? Leave one probably insecure hiding spot for a definitely even less secure hiding spot? Ah, I see. She's his Julia Stiles. In case you confused it for the other city that has a Sears Tower. Right the hell off, Willis Tower stands. Wait, how did Aaron get all the way to Chicago so fast? He just left Alaska in that tiny plane, and there's no way that piece of shit made it all the way to O'Hare. This car has been here how long? This is downtown Chicago, not Nicaragua, so an abandoned car in a parking garage is not forever. And I am not aware of anyone on the outside that is helping him. So basically, the movie is saying he planted this safe car here ages ago while still in the good graces of the government, and no one has towed it or stolen it or investigated it since he went rogue. Bull shit. What the did he expect? Why do you even take a deep breath before opening this shit? He's a super soldier. You think he hasn't memorized how many pills were in that thing? God damn, this shot pisses me off because it's literally just for the audience. Cross knows that shit's empty. This house is condemned and haunted. How did the studio even get permission to film here? The ringing phone thankfully interrupts what's a solid 2 minutes of people preparing to go somewhere else.
Anything off limits here?
Have you ever read your employment security contract?
Facebook.
I have a PhD in biochemistry with postdoctoral fellowships in virology and genetics. I know how to read.
This seems like a lot of exposition to go through to make a single point about literacy.
There are projects at Starrison, defense projects, that could explain why he did what he did.
Yeah, what about those projects? I'm sure one of those was used to make Foyt kill everybody in the lab. But the movie sure does yada yada how that plan actually worked.
You are asking all the wrong questions.
Jesus Christ. I know they want to check to make sure that Marta didn't talk to anyone, but they're also spending an absurd amount of time in this scene instead of actually killing her, which is, you know, what they came to do. Cross ex machina. Holy shit, the way this movie's edited makes Paul Greengrass look like Stanley Kubrick. Evil chick sets down her gun and scrounges around for nail weapon supplies. I'm sure Aaron's deadly as shit with a pistol, but the dude was also carrying a f***ing machine gun, right? Maybe even grab both? Hawkeye parkour. All the shots of this asshole driving up to the burning house only to get out and be useless.
They wound him up and set him loose.
I really have no idea what is going on.
But Marta was literally floating this Foyt brainwashing theory to Captain Marvel a few minutes ago back at the house.
Would you please stop the car?
Rachel Weisz only agreed to do this movie if she could scream 63% of her lines.
Where is it?
Manila.
Ooh, they have great envelopes there.
Why am I asking you anything? Would you keep us on a leash, right?
I understand Aaron's upset about getting infected with the virus, but he was just lecturing Marta about the severity of their predicament. So is this the time and place to have a protracted argument in the middle of the f***ing road?
Who tells you that this is okay?
I don't make policy.
Basically every White House spokesperson in history.
Live culture. Live virus.
I was honestly fine with the Bourne CU sticking with psychological training as the only real tweak that made these super soldiers great at killing beyond just regular training, and giving this guy meds that enhance his abilities and viruses that he can take so those enhanced physical abilities become permanent, not a step in the right direction. You might as well have given him a magic flute. You couldn't remove the orange cones before filming this shot, or are the cones supposed to be some kind of intentional part of the shot that needs to be there to convey the danger that's nearby for these two fugitives?
You pack in genetic mutation, infect the body, and the vector unloads into the target cells.
Oh.
It's nothing more than a 1.5% rise in your mitochondrial protein uptake.
What'd you just say about midichlorians? It's not a Bourne movie if the male protagonist doesn't have a conversation with his female traveling partner in a motel bathroom.
If I can't keep it together, we won't make it.
Well, at least in addition to the authorities hunting you, we now have a secondary antagonist for you to barely defeat by the end. I, for one, am super stressed about it. Okay, we pan out from this overhead shot of a cutout headshot, showing the elaborate coat hanger and duct tape contraption he made to hold this magnifying glass. Then we see him pinch 2 wires, press some putty into a passport, and how bad is his eyesight if he needs a magnifying glass at all for any of these tasks, let alone one that requires so much use, one would construct a rudimentary holder for it. Other than paying off all that footage of the fake passport construction, why go from the US to Manila via a US airport? Why not stealth boat that down to Cuba, and then fly wherever you want with little to no questions asked?
There's got to be satellite footage.
There'll be plenty of weather imaging, but we're gonna have to swing a little wider to find something real time.
Damn, if there was any time for a convenient zoom and enhance cliche, it's definitely now.
Select Committee is investigating links between a troubled CIA program known as Treadstone and this man, Jason Bourne.
Man, this is the borniest Bourne movie to never actually feature a Bourne. Don't worry, I'm sure your Clark Kent-style disguise will throw everyone off the trail. Weird that the Stan Lee cameo here didn't even contain a line of dialogue. He spent all that time making fake passports and couldn't also make the fake employment IDs on the same go. He had to do that shit in a bathroom on an overnight and overseas flight where literally every other passenger is asleep except his female partner.
She took American 167 to Manila. She landed 45 minutes ago.
Look, I know we're supposed to suspend our disbelief about the abilities of this shady government Ed Norton agency, but the fact that they tracked Marta across this f***ing planet this quickly with almost no information is way too easy. We interrupt this Bourne movie to show you the inner workings of Willy Wonka's Philippines chocolate factory.
Aaron, you okay?
Enhancement juice is wearing off right before climax of the movie cliche. I just laughed at my own joke. Will someone please send this movie for making me laugh at my own joke? Thank you.
Carl D. Brundage, 13B.
I need support staff to clear the room.
Yeah, but they're still working on tracking Marta, right? Couldn't Bayer have a private conversation in the room where he was just having a private conversation? This highly trained biochemist and virologist neglects to use gloves while handling whatever this is. I don't care if it holds the stem cells or the virus or whatever. Use some gloves.
The stems are there.
She's gonna try to viral him out.
How the do these assholes know this? I'm sure they're generally informed about outcome, but they've been asking Ward about the inside information this whole time. Jesus Christ, has anyone ever actually hit a vein in this movie? Also, this works. I mean, Marta said earlier that this was only theoretically possible, and even though she knows the procedure, this is an incredibly short time for a perfectly executed viraling off. Literally murder.
I'm gonna get my bag. We gotta go.
She's somehow shocked here, either by the violence he so casually employs, again, or by the fact that he killed so casually, again.
He can't get far. If he didn't viral out, he's gonna run out of brain.
It's dialogue like this that reminds you that this movie was directed by the writer of modern classic The Devil's Advocate.
We just have to find him fast and kill him.
Can we talk about larks?
No, goddammit, you cannot talk about f***ing larks. Whatever it is, it's too late in the game for this film to casually introduce some villain or power or utility or robocall you have known all along, but have simply refused to implement until desperation struck. Save that for the second movie, like any respectable spin-off film.
This went from something I don't know about to something on the drawing board, and now you're telling me it's up and running?
How Music Video Sins was born. Who put the sheep stomach cheesecloth thing on his head?
When it's a stay-at-home.
Even though he's already familiar with Aaron's backstory, Bayer picks this time to watch an expositional flashback. Why do they have to send in the discount Desh? They've tracked these motherfuckers to the ends of the earth, and since they know Aaron's incapacitated, why don't they continue the desperate search themselves? I know we're supposed to have a fight between badasses in a Bourne movie, but this makes no goddamn sense. Man, I would remove 100 sins if after Aaron wakes up from his coma, he was suddenly being played by Matt Damon. Even though he's back to being a cognitively enhanced super agent, Aaron Cross doesn't think to look out the f***ing window, where there's an obvious operation happening in plain sight. I want him to escape as much as you do, I swear. But this mishmash of exterior rebar is a shameful bit of come up with something for him to step on while escaping. They may be lacking pursuit skills, but the Manila police are incredibly adept at pointing. It's not a Bourne sequel if there isn't a rooftop chase. Except for this whistle, this climactic chase is just a Philippines ripoff of the Moroccan rooftop chase in Ultimatum. Every bit of this chase sequence should feel Bourne-y, but it's really just a series of police pratfalls, rooftop parkour, a somehow omniscient pursuer, and a series of lucky then unlucky breaks. Jeez, I need to watch Ultimatum as soon as I'm done with this, just to cleanse my palate.
You ever run before?
Does that f***ing matter right now? Despite being intentionally run into thrice, the bus driver continues to drive. I'm glad they got away. I'm rooting for them, actually. But I'm a bit triggered by motorcycles that straddle the line and think they've created an entirely new lane just for them. What? Huh, I guess those are blood oranges now.
Capture a Treadstone operative gone rogue.
Hey, it's the end of the movie. Let's get the old Bourne band back together for an unnecessary curtain call. Yeah, but Aaron was losing a lot of blood. Like, so much so that he was passing out during the motorcycle chase. You're telling me that they had the proper supplies in this fishing boat to get him all fixed up?
I was kind of hoping we were lost.
Well, all that's left to make this a perfectly enjoyable but generic as hell action thriller is a generic-ass spy rock song to play over the end credit. Hey, right on cue.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Yeah! Look what I have created! I have made fire!
I'm gonna cook this son of a bitch. Then we're gonna eat it.
You would not believe how much I spent on the generator system, but I keep getting failures every day.
Do you know why they happen?
No. The system was supposed to be bulletproof, but obviously the guys that installed it f***ed something up.
Holes, exits, service stations.
Every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or doghouse.
This is the end.
We have to get ready.
Are you ready for it?
Cool guys don't look at explosions. They blow things up and then walk away.
Whose chopper is this?
Zed's.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.